welcome back to Cooking with Allizard. I'm Alex, and joining me, as always, is Alan.
Hey guys, welcome to the show.
At the end of episode 1, KWA had established itself as one of the most respected brands in the airsoft industry, with a loyal and growing following around the world. The officially licensed KWA KRISS Vector GBB had just launched right before Christmas 2012. SHOT Show 2013 was a huge success. Even the gunsmiths at KRISS USA were impressed by how well the KWA KRISS Vector was made. From the outside, it looked like KWA was heading in exactly the right direction. So, Alan, why did you leave KWA?
Oh boy, that is literally $1 million questions. There is no short answer. It is very complicated. There's a lot of moving pieces behind, but what I can say is KWA on the executive level have done something that I could not agreed on, and I am the only one officially hand in the resignation letter around February. Um, Back then, I think I'll be maybe a bit more emotional. Let me put it this way: I wasn't really planning to go back at all. I thought I'm going to quit. But on the other hand, as I mentioned, there's a lot of moving pieces in the back, and the story of today isn't really about why I quit. It's more like completely starting over.
So, today's story isn't the politics, it's about beginning again. What did that actually look like for you?
Just for the record, I am not the only one that left KWA. By March, what I would call the beginning of the mutiny, we have people left in KWA as well. And by middle of 2013, KW USA lost half of its employee, and everyone just quit, and they went to the KRISS group. And that because when we went to KRISS group, we were originally thinking that we're just going to, you know, do the firearm side, absorb into their team, but that's not what KRISS executive were thinking. They want to continue to do airsoft, so we came up with a plan. It gave us a budget that we can agree on. Then we start the planning again.
What was the plan when you started over?
With the budget, there are two main things that we need to establish. One is an operational base in U.S. So we need to find a new office. So we end up finding a location in Brea, and that's a way to build a new office. And the other plan is to find new partners because we have no production, we have no manufacturing capability, we have no developer, no engineers. So literally, you have to find the right people to start everything over again.
So, you basically had to build both sides at once.
We
The
we have to build
office
we have to build
infrastructure.
yeah we have to build everything completely scratch.
Right. So, build an office and find partners. That's a lot to do at once. How did you even start tackling that? One first step, or did it all just kind of collide at once?
Well, I mean, it's again, we have a team of people that left, and we divided into multiple. I mean, we all have wearing different hats. For the U.S. side, we start building the office, and I remember that we were pulling cables, and Joe and I were doing the network planning. Joe have a background in server and security, and I have experience on the desktop user end side and the application side. Both of us pretty much plan out the whole IT infrastructure for the Brea office. We were pulling cable, and I even got a really good picture of the cable. We did an excellent job routing everything clean. We went out buy server racks, buying hubs and routers and stuff like that. And I went out and ordered new equipments, getting account from Dell, setting up, and we got furnitures. I mean, we even, I remember we bought stuff from IKEA, and we used a website called IKEA Hacks, and we were building a large conference table in a room that after when it's done, it will not come out of the office. So we have to take the whole thing apart. But good things we have a lot of young guys in our team, so we all doing our own job setting up.
That paints a really vivid picture, like folding desks and pulling cable. Honestly, that's very startup energy. Did it feel exciting or overwhelming or kind of both at the same time?
Well, definitely. I don't know about overwhelming. I mean, we all in this together, so we have a mission to do, and we have to succeed. So everybody has the same goal as a team, and that's why we enjoy doing this.
Makes sense. Shared mission does change the feel. What came next after the office started taking shape? Did the manufacturing side click together right away?
Well, we have to find the right partners. As I mentioned, that we flew to Taiwan. We got recommendation from friends, mutual friends, that we end up meeting uh, two person, and and then we having meetings with them. Um, I have to assess what their capability, and looks like we find the right one. And they actually own a small operation in Taiwan. And as a matter of fact, um, they already have experience manufacturing, small scale, but their stuff is actually well known. Um, One of their most complete product actually is pretty quite popular in Japan, and it was a shell ejecting M4. And I was looking at that M4, and I thought, that's pretty good design. And everybody thought that was actually made in Japan, is from a Japanese company, but no, it's actually designed and manufactured in Taiwan.
Interesting. That must have given you a bit of confidence. Like, okay, this partner knows what they're doing.
Yeah, I've seen their stuff, and their manufacturing capability is actually pretty good, and we have confidence that they will work out. So we signed contract, we bought them out, we bought their modes. That's how we have our product come up soon, much faster than most people than most startup company. So we already have something to start with.
Hmm. That must have felt like, okay, this might just work. But like, I imagine it still wasn't smooth sailing. What bumps showed up next?
Well, I think the language barrier has one thing. I mean, I can speak Mandarin, but I'm not technical in a lot of ways. And some of my communication, I think more like a Westerner than Asian. So there are miscommunication in between. So that's the big hurdle. But overall, I mean, all this stuff is smooth out throughout the years. We come up with some feature list that we want to add on our first products. So we give them some tasks. These are the things we want, and let them work on it. And they came back with a proposal. We review it, agreed on it, and they start working on production. I mean, at least trial production. And we were very exciting with these features that we add onto it, because we want to make sure that we're a little bit different than the products that already existed in the airsoft industry.
Right. That makes sense. So, from what I'm hearing, the goal wasn't just to copy what's already out there. You
Correct.
wanted to build something with a few distinct differences.
Correct.
What what kind of features did you want to add?
Some of the features are already exist, and like the rotary hop up have existed before. It was on the ICS and also on the KWA ERG. So I took that idea and said, well, let's standardize that, and we put the rotary hop up on the M4 that we're going to come out. The other thing that we added is a MOSFET. MOSFET job is a redirect current, and well, again, back then it's not popular. Sistema have done it, but they did it externally, and we did that internally. Literally, have that MOSFET built right onto the gearbox itself, and we are probably the first one to have done that. And then I want to do a spring release. Basically, is when you finish using AEG, you flip to safe, and it will release the spring tension. These three features are probably the most notable in the beginning of the launch.
MOSFET built into the gearbox, the rotary hop up, and the spring release function. Those were the early standouts.
Correct.
How do you feel about them now?
Well, the rotary hop up now became pretty much became the standard. All other current built of the M4 platform AEG all have to have a rotary hop up. Um, for the MOSFET, it eventually evolved into what I call the ECU, electronic control unit. However, we didn't really popularize the ECU. It's want to clarify that MOSFET is actually what we started, but on the aftermarket side, people have adopted and then added that MOSFET feature into the ECU a more robust and more feature-rich function for the triggers. But yeah, that had become a standard for the industry. For the spring release, we have decided to remove it due to a liability concern. The detail why is because if the spring have tension is holding on to the piston, when we release it, the piston will release, and that means it's pushing air out through the nozzle. And if there's a BB still lodged in the chamber or the hop-up chamber, that means the BB is going to shoot out. So we were worried about accidental discharge. That's why that we removed it.
Hmm. Yeah, I can see how a feature like that could get tricky on the liability side. Sounds like you were balancing innovation with real world risks, which feels like a constant push and pull in that industry.
Well, I mean, some features we thought is going to work, but it may not work in the real world application. Some stuff that we'll learn, but that's just part of a learning process.
Exactly. And honestly, that's universal. Every product team hits that point where reality adjusts the spec sheet. So you had partners in an office. What happened when the first prototypes arrived?
Well, we were very excited for the to receive the prototype. Um, we put through a series of stress tests. One of them is what I call the ice chest test, and I actually make recordings of it. So we put together uh, ice box with dry ice in there, and we measure the temperature, and we put the gearbox in there, and we start firing that gearbox with the receiver, with the battery hooked up, everything. And we were firing continuously with a 120 spring and trying to break it because back then it's very different. It's very easy to break a gearbox if they're not done right. But we have a design that try to reinforce the gearbox, and we were very happy that it passed. I mean, we were firing over 10 So yeah, go 10 minutes. I think 10 minutes none continuously.
Sounds like a pretty intense stress test. And it worked?
Yeah, yeah, we were like really exciting that it worked. So by that point on, we know, yep, we got the right formula. So that's how we decided to make sure that everything that Crytek came out is reliable.
That's a strong milestone. Testing it hard and seeing it hold up, that must have made all the grind worthwhile. So, how did that shape what came after?
Well, that's pretty much the standard operational procedure for us. We want to make sure everything we made, everything that we release to the market, liability, durability is important. Um, of course, we still have lessons to learn even after we launch a product, but I'll leave that to a future discussion when we learn our failure and how we're going to recover from it. Because nothing's perfect. I mean, as much as we think that that's how things are going to be, but there are always things that can happen that we didn't expect. But and then how we react to it.
Yeah, fair. We'll save the failures and recovery stories for another time. Well, I think that's a good place to wrap things up. Today, we talked about what it really meant to start over. From building an office in Brea to finding the right manufacturing partner in Taiwan, the foundation was finally in place. Next time, we'll talk about the lessons learned from the products you'd launched over the years and how those experiences shaped the decisions behind KRISS's new airsoft division. If you enjoyed today's episode, please like, subscribe, and share it with someone who enjoys engineering, business, or airsoft. If you have questions or suggestions for future episodes, leave us a comment or check the links in the description below. I'm Alex.
And I'm Alan.
Thanks for listening to Cooking with Allizard. We'll see you next time.